sleeping on the ground. That's what camping is.
So no, I mean I've done some nature staying, but like Lee and Josie and I went to we stayed at this place by the water in Colorado, Dolores River, right? It was called the Dolores River. Yeah, and no, I don't think it was called the Dolores River.
The town is Dolores. I think it's the Animus.
Yeah, we were on some river in the town of Dolores, Colorado, and many people people drive there with their their mobile homes, and they park them there. And they live kind of a camping life, but they're not sleeping on the ground. They're sleeping in their mobile homes. We drove there in our automobile, and then we rented a cabin, like that was with all the other stuff. But I mean, like, and by the way, that cabin cost like, I don't know, $152 a night, which I thought was too much. But like, we're having a conversation among, say, sensible, stable people. But it was beautiful. We walk along. There's a lake, and we had the dog, and it was, we talked to met all these other people, the mobile home community. I was totally into it. I don't know whether that counts as camping. Probably not, but it's kind of camping.
Well, that's going to lead to my conclusion. And you're right. There's people in trailers, mobile homes, whatever you want to call it. So they're not sleeping on the ground. And there's plenty of people who sleep in their car, including some of our friends. And so, but I guess the main thing that I was confused about is, do you go in the woods or don't you go in the woods? And
right.
And I realize now, that's why I'm amused at myself. Like everyone who's ever gone camping, all real Americans already know all this, right? So, but it's all discovery to me. And so, like, most people just go to the campgrounds. And so that's actually, like, I thought they were going all the way into the woods. Most people don't go into the woods. Like, you got to be pretty hardcore to go find your own camp, like set up your own camp, because then you really need to, like, there's no water, there's no bathrooms, there's no nothing. You really got to dig a hole, and et cetera, et cetera. Most camping grounds have water, have garbage, have
they got holes. They dig the holes for you.
Yeah, they dig the holes for you. So with the bathrooms, it really takes care. Like, that's 1,000 times easier.
Yeah,
so now I feel
you're totally right. That's how most people go camping. That still counts as camping. Like the others is sort of man in his land. It's like survivalism, like people who want to be at one with nature. But also living here in California, I mean, more from Jersey, which is, more rural than people realize. Much of Jersey is more rural than people realize. But like we go up to Colorado and like, I mean, into the woods, like those towns, they're all in the woods. They're all in the mountains. I mean, okay, they built a town out of it, but the woods, the trees, the mountains are everywhere. So the campground is sort of in the mountains, although they have made it so that you can, they're supplying you with potable water. That's their, your big concession is you get to drink safely and flush a toilet.
Yeah. So, but now that I realize that 90% of folks just go to campgrounds, which are just on the edge of nature, basically, right? And then once they get there, most of them don't even walk into nature. They'll go and take a hike, right? Which is a trail. When I say walk into nature, I mean,
yeah, like they're not like knocking the branches out of their way so their wives can get through.
Yeah, exactly. So then I thought, okay, what's the big deal? I can do that. Okay, so it turns out I could go camping.
That's right. It's just a question of whether you like it. Also, there's the people who build tents. I mean, like, what's your sleeping situation? You're not capable of putting together a tent. I only learned in the last couple of years. I mean, I know that tents have poles, but like in the subject of politics, although I guess a lot of tents now just, they do that now. But the real tents have poles, and you have to construct your tent or put it together. And that like in politics, they talk about tent poles. Our former boss in Miami used to talk about, what are the tent pole stories? What are the tent? And like, I never put it together that that's where it came from, the poles of an actual tent, because I'd never put a tent together, even though I knew both of those things existed. Much like the way I knew there was a band named In Excess, and I also knew there was a band whose letters appeared to be INXS, but it didn't occur to me that that was the same band.
Yes, exactly. So then Leah, our chief of staff, was just blown away. She's like, there's no way you weren't camping. She didn't believe me. I told her, no, I actually did. So she's like, you got to send me a picture of you putting up a tent. And I was like, don't be ridiculous. Of course, my wife put up the tent. I didn't put up the tent. Right. And so, but we have one of those tents actually that's really easy. You just kind of throw it on the ground and it pops up. So there's
right. Like it's an air mattress, but a tent.
Yeah. But it turns out that there was like downsides to it that we didn't realize. One is it was we thought it was going to be really big. It turns out it was pretty small. And other folks have tents you could stand up in. Ours was just like barely above our head. And then trying to, like, it pops up nice and easy. Trying to fold it back up took like 8 guys.
No, you got to get it. You just got to, each time you put it up, you just got to leave it there and buy another tent next time you go. That's
no, by the way, look, if it was just me, there's no way I would have taken that tent home. I couldn't possibly figure out how to put it back together. No way.
You're like, what are we going to go camping once every 3 years? What do one of these cost? Like, I get it. It's super wasteful. And there's the possibility that you seal it back up and bring it back up, and it turns out there's a leak in it because you didn't know how to seal it up right the first time. So it's ruined anyway.
Yeah. No. I already, like, while they were struggling with it, I had already thought in my mind, what do I put on the Post-it note? Like, hey, brand new tent, couldn't figure out how to pack it.
It's
all yours.
All yours, right?
Yeah. And so, like, what is it? I don't know, because my wife bought it. Was it $54? Okay, so if I stayed at your cabin, I just saved $100, right? Even if I throw it away.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching this free clip of Old School. Don't forget to become a TYT member today for the rest of the show and for more exclusive content throughout the network. Join now at tyt.com/join.